Okay, so right here underneath this table, I have hiding from you 3 books that were the most important books that made me a millionaire in my 20s. You want to see them? Can't. You gotta watch this whole video. All right, let's get into it. 3 books that made me a millionaire in my 20s. The first book is this one. Okay, it's called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and this is actually not the original book. This is the second one. It's called Cash Flow Quadrant, and I'll tell you the secret behind this. So, I guess the story behind this is when I was 18, my dad was on my ass. He said, Adam, you either got to get a job or you have to start a business. And I thought, I have no idea how to start a business. I'm gonna get a job. And I remember I went down the street to this place called, I think it was called Sprouts Grocery Store, to apply to be a bag boy of all things. And I go down there, I do the little application, and I get called back in for the interview and all that sort of stuff. And I got denied to be a bag boy. And so I said, screw that, I'm never getting a job. Dad, how do I start a business? And he handed me this exact book. It's called Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's the #1 personal finance book of all time. And it totally changed my mind from thinking like an employee to get me to start thinking like an entrepreneur. And after that, I ended up starting my very first business, all thanks to this book, which, as you can tell, I treat this book really nicely. Rich Dad Poor Dad, that's the first book. The second book was, I was in college and I had a friend recommend me this book. He said, you gotta read this book. It's at a time when I had started my second business. It was going down the drain and I was just like frustrated and I was like all emotional and weird and I don't know, I was all sad about it. He said, you gotta read this book, it's gonna change your life. And at this point, I think this was like the first book I ever read. I never read any books like completely in school. So it was like the first book I read. This is probably maybe like the 3rd or 4th book I ever read in my entire life. And it's called The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, and there's actually a movie that's been made after it, and I know you may be thinking, oh, this book is like, you know, you've seen this book, or maybe you haven't seen this book or the movie, and it's so basic, but at the same time, for me at that point in my life, it got me thinking, and it got me to realize how creative we are as human beings, that we can literally bring what we want into our lives, and it taught me that, well, dude, if you're having awful shit happen to you in your life, is because you're attracting that in your life. If you're having amazing stuff happen in your life, you're attracting amazing stuff into your life. And so this book was huge for me in getting me to understand my personal power and how to like actually attract good stuff into my life, good people into my life. So I highly, highly recommend it also. And then the third book, brilliant. It's this book called .com Secrets by my mentor and my friend Russell Brunson. And this book was more about the strategy than it was anything else. It wasn't like a mindset thing. It wasn't like an entrepreneur thing. It was like the exact strategy, the business strategy that allowed me to grow a business to that level. So it's brilliant. I hired him to be my personal coach, and this book has totally changed my life and my business life. And it's more of the title is the .com Secrets, the underground playbook for growing your company online. So that's what I do. I have an online business, and it's fantastic. It's fabulous about how to grow and actually scale a business. He takes you through the entire process, and it's just brilliant. So these 3 books, I would say, have had a bigger impact in my life than anything else, right? Because what you put into your head is what you get out of life, and these are them. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, boom, you gotta read it. The Secret, you gotta read it. If you're into internet business, you gotta read .com Secrets. It's the must. Those are 3 books. Oh, and then I almost forgot the most important book. This one I carry it in my back pocket everywhere, and it's fantastic. I don't even know what that book is. It was just sitting on this table like a piece of decoration. Anyways, those books I'll leave. Actually, I can get you this book for free. .com Secrets. If you're interested in this one, I can get it for free. I'll post it somewhere below or something like that, where you can actually get this book for free. It's super cool. The other books, you can probably just go on Amazon or somewhere and get those books. But get them. They'll change your life, and they changed my life.